This episode was inspired by a positive review I got recently, written by a preteen who needs help cleaning their room. I'm going to be gearing this episode to both older kids or teenagers and adults, just anybody cleaning their room. Let's get right into the episode. It's time to gear up for your cleaning session. You might want to put on something comfortable yet presentable. Just get ready for the day if you're listening to this in the morning. Or maybe you're already dressed for the day, but you need to just grab some supplies together. You need a large trash bag. You need a cloth for dusting. Maybe a dusting spray. Or you might need some glass cleaner and a microfiber cloth. But let's face it, the hard part about cleaning your room is picking up the clutter and getting everything organized without getting sidetracked or discouraged. While you're getting things together, just say that I understand that keeping your room clean can be a challenge, and cleaning it after you've let it go for a while can be even a bigger challenge. Often we tell ourselves that our lives are too busy. You know, when you're young, you've got school and your social life. When you're older, you might also still have those things, school or a job, social life. But even if you don't, you might be telling yourself, I'm responsible for the entire house, which is why I don't have time to clean my room. Okay. For example, if you're a mom, you might be thinking, well, of course, my kid has time to clean their room after school or whatever, but I don't, because I've got to keep the dishes done. I've got to cook meals every day. I've got to do laundry for multiple people. I've got to make sure that the outer areas, the front entrance, the living areas, those areas that people see first, get cleaned. I have other things to do. However, regardless of what stage of life you're in, you've got to just set aside time for cleaning your room, just as you would for an appointment or any other responsibility. Understand that's easier said than done, so no judgment here. If your bedroom's a disaster right now and you don't know where to begin, this episode is for you. A lot of times when you start to clean a bedroom, you think that you need to pick up the floor first, or maybe clear some dirty cups or dishes from the nightstands. But don't do that. Don't do that. What I want you to do first is the thing that's going to help you get the motivation that you need, and that's making your bed, because making the bed causes your room to look instantly better. And a lot of times during this step, in a cleaning talk through that includes a bedroom, a lot of my bonus episodes are an hour or more long and they include the bedroom. A lot of times I say, well, if this is not a day that you're washing your bedding, then just quickly make your bed. But if your room's a disaster right now, maybe resist the urge to wash the bedding and save that to the end. I promise you it's not going to hurt you to make your bed and then unmake it later, because a made bed provides an area for staging. When you're decluttering and you're not sure what to do with something, you can put it on top of that freshly made bed. Again, I'm not telling you not to wash your bedding, but I'm saying if you need to wash your bedding, let's do that at the end. For now, I want you to spread that comforter over your bed. Ideally, make your bed look pretty, but at least spread that comforter out so you'll have a place to put stuff. But if you make your bed nicely, your room instantly looks better, no matter how cluttered the floor and nightstands are. It just gives you the hope that you need to press onward. So let's make that bed. It's only going to take you a couple minutes. It might only take you like 60 seconds, to be honest. By the way, when you're trying to complete a procrastination project or just a project that maybe you had trouble getting the motivation to start and you're barely doing it at this point, make sure that you're not watching any visual content while you do this. If you're listening to this podcast, resist the urge to keep picking up your phone and looking at your phone. Just stick the phone in your pocket or turn it over and just ignore your notifications for now. You might even want to put yourself in do not disturb mode, because sometimes distraction can be a problem, and you might have a tendency to get distracted by things in your room. The way we're going to prevent that in this episode is that I'm going to be very specific on what you're doing. And I don't want you to just be generally cleaning your room. I'm hoping that, of course, there's no right or wrong way to listen to this show, but I'm hoping that you'll be completing the specific steps that I give you and handling different categories of items as I mention them to help you avoid getting distracted along the way. What I'm saying is make it your goal and even treat it like a game where you're trying to keep up with what I'm talking about in the episode. By now you've made your bed. The next step I want you to complete is to hang up any clean clothes and put them in the closet. The things that you hang up, that is, you may have clean clothes that belong in drawers. For example, maybe you put your t-shirts in drawers and you have, a stack of clean laundry that maybe you folded and didn't put away, or, if you're a kid, your mom folded it and dropped it off in your room or something. By the way, if you're a preteen or teenager, I encourage you to learn how to use the washer and dryer at your house and consider doing your own laundry. Okay, my kids do their own laundry. Sometimes I do come across something that ended up in my load, and that's when I'll drop off those folded piles in my teenagers' rooms. But for the most part, I'm folding and putting away my clothes. Sometimes my husband's, he also helps with laundry, and he's doing mine and his as well. Like basically our laundry kind of goes together because we live together in the same room. And we, as the adults, are usually the ones doing the towels and whatnot. Okay, but different families divide things differently. But if you're a parent, definitely teach your preteens and teenagers how to do their own laundry at some point. Every child is different, but you decide when they're ready. Or if you're a kid, you can ask your parent to show you how. For right now, you're supposed to be putting away any clean clothes that you come across in your room. Yes, I realize that some of your clean clothes might be mixed in with dirty clothes. Pick things up, smell them, check them for stains, and decide what needs to be hung up or put in a drawer. That's what you're doing right now. You're ignoring the dirty stuff for right now. You're pulling out the clean stuff. I watched a video earlier that said something to the effect of the way your closet looks kind of reflects the state of mind you're in. So basically, if your bedroom and closet are kind of a mess, this could mean that you're under a lot of stress right now. But sometimes the stress you're under could be about the state of your room and closet. Being in a chaotic environment can make you feel like things are out of control, or it can make you feel bad about yourself. You might be disappointed in yourself. You might be wondering why you can't keep your room clean. You'd be surprised. A lot of people struggle in this area. Everyone puts their best foot forward on social media and shows you a perfectly clean bedroom, but they probably moved some stuff out of the way when they took that picture, or there's some other area of their life that's spinning out of control. Okay, we all struggle. So whether your stressful lifestyle is causing you to just throw things in the closet or throw things on the floor or just not clean your room for days or weeks, or your messy room has been overwhelming you and that's making you feel stressed. Like your room has become a source of stress. It can be kind of a vicious cycle. But cleaning up your surroundings is a great way to feel more in control and to be able to focus on other things besides the mess. And you may have other things on your mind right now. Don't think about that. Again, don't look at the notifications on your phone right now. Don't think about what you need to do after this. Be in the moment, focus on cleaning your room, and you're going to feel so good afterward, and then you can do whatever you want. After you wash your bedding, of course. I'll talk more about that toward the end of the episode. Hopefully by now you've hung up your clean clothes in the closet and maybe placed a few clean items in the drawers. Okay? The next thing I want you to do is put any dirty clothes in the hamper or maybe in your laundry basket. If your family doesn't do it this way yet, I recommend having a hamper or a laundry basket for dirty clothes in each person's room. Not necessarily if you have little ones. I realize you might just if you're a mom of little ones, you might just take their clothes to the kind of community hamper in a bathroom, hallway, or laundry room. But if you have preteens or teenagers, they ought to have a place to put their dirty clothes in their room. Okay? It's just my opinion. When I was growing up, we did have a hamper at the end of the hallway, and that's where us kids would put our dirty laundry. But my house isn't set up that way. When you get to the end of the hallway, the walls are kind of diagonal and there's two doors at the end and there's not enough space to place a hamper there. And then my laundry room is super narrow and my kids' bathroom is super narrow. So off and on, I've done a hamper thing, but the way I'm doing it now is there is one hamper in the laundry room, kind of a skinny hamper. It's kind of a catch-all for dirty towels that are not damp because you don't want to put wet towels in a hamper, but that's mainly what it's for. Okay, but I've got a hamper in my room and each teenager has a laundry basket for their own dirty clothes. That way they can do a load of just their clothes and avoid getting everything mixed together. Okay, that might not be the way you do it at your house, but it's just a thought. You should be picking up dirty clothes and putting them in your hamper or dirty clothes basket. So that hamper is in the laundry room, hallway, bathroom, or your own bedroom or closet. Let's get those dirty clothes where they need to go. And you might be tempted to start a load right now. Nope, I don't want you to get sidetracked because there are so many distractions when cleaning your room. You start thinking about laundry. You start reminiscing about things you find. We're not going to get sidetracked right now. We're going to get the room clean. Laundry is kind of a different category than cleaning your room. The only reason we're dealing with those dirty clothes is because they were on your floor or draped over a chair in your room. This step should not take you long at all. Just be rushing around, grabbing up that laundry, and maybe you come across something that's clean, put it away. Okay? You might have missed something during the previous step. That's okay. But 1 minute from now, you shouldn't have any clothes on your bedroom floor or hanging over a chair because you need to make a decision and decide what's clean or dirty. Now, one exception is if you happen to come across something that you need to get rid of. Okay? Like if you're a preteen or teenager, you might be like, this is too small. Place that in a pile on your bed. You might need a pile for things you're getting rid of. Now, I'm not saying that this is a decluttering session where you're going to go through every item of your wardrobe and decide what to keep, what to throw away. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying if while tidying up the room you come across something that you might want to get rid of, go ahead and put that in a pile. From time to time, my teenagers will come to me with a stack of clothing and be like, none of this stuff fits, or I don't want this stuff. Like, they know that those items are still in good condition. Like, they'll throw away something that's covered in paint stains or whatever. My daughter's an artist, so she knows what to throw away that's been destroyed. But if she comes across something that's perfectly good, but she's never going to wear it again, either because she doesn't like it or it's too small, she'll make a pile of things like that and bring them to me periodically. And it's such a great life skill to be able to purge things, because some people struggle with getting rid of stuff. It's important to be able to purge your wardrobe, but I don't want you to go into like a serious purge mode. This is something you could do after the episode. But again, if you find something that you don't want to put in the hamper or put it away because you want to get rid of it, go ahead and make a pile on your freshly made bed. And we'll make decisions about that later. Don't let it slow you down. And if you're an adult, I know I'm kind of talking to you like you're a preteen or teenager, but this episode will work for anyone cleaning their room. Okay, now that all the clothes are dealt with, that was a major hurdle, right? Let's put away any shoes and socks. I'm assuming you dealt with your dirty socks during the laundry step, unless they were in your shoes. Okay, sometimes we take off our shoes and leave the socks in them or something. So maybe you have socks to deal with, but more than likely you just need to put your shoes in the closet. Don't do this thing where you're storing your shoes outside of your closet. Okay? Now, you might want to store your shoes on the closet floor. You might have a shoe rack in your closet, or you might have a shelf on top of your closet that has space for shoes. I like to put expensive shoes like cowboy boots or maybe brand new shoes up on a higher shelf because I don't want to risk the dog chewing them up. I don't know if that's an issue at your house, but I do believe that shoes should all be in the closet. One exception is if you keep like a shoe basket or a shoe area by your front door. Next step is clearing off your dresser and or your desk. Not everybody has a desk in their room, but a lot of people do. Most people have a dresser with a surface that can get cluttered. Okay, so let's remove anything that doesn't belong. I have a printer on top of my dresser. Well, there's two dressers. One of them has a printer on top of it, and the other one is a wide chest of drawers that has a TV sitting on top of it. So there's not a lot of space to clutter up. That said, sometimes there are items on those surfaces that do not belong, and that's what I would put away during this step. And I go to work at the school, and my teenagers are going to school too. We lock the bedrooms to make sure that my little 2-year-old grandson doesn't get into one of the bedrooms and get into something. Okay. When we're not there, obviously he's being supervised, but sometimes it just takes a second for a kid to run down a hall, open a door, and get into something. Okay, by now you've had time to clear off a dresser and or a desk. Let's take care of any other surfaces in your room. You might have a nightstand. You might have a nightstand on one side of the bed or on either side of the bed. Or maybe there are only a couple items on your nightstand, but you did not get your desk cleared off during that previous segment, because sometimes desks can attract a lot of clutter. Don't get too sidetracked by things on your desk. You probably have some desk drawers that you can put those items in, because this is not a major purge. This is not a sorting out session. A lot of the items on your desk could probably just go into the desk drawers if you still have a cluttered desk. On your nightstand, typically you might want to have a lamp, maybe an alarm clock. A lot of us are using our phones for that. maybe a pen and a notepad. I like to write things down as I think of them. Or maybe a book that you're reading. But don't accumulate too many books on your nightstand because you probably have another place to keep books. Whether it's a bookshelf or the top shelf of your closet, be honest with yourself. You're probably not reading 3 or 4 books at once. If there's a book that you want to read, but you've been procrastinating on reading it, maybe that book could go into a tote bag or into your car. There was a book that I'd been meaning to read for a long time. I brought it on a recent flight and finished reading it on the return trip. And so that book doesn't need to be on my nightstand anymore, reminding me that I procrastinate. I'm done reading it now, and I do want to keep it. I highlighted some things to refer to again later. It's a nonfiction book, so sometimes I highlight things in books, and then I flip through them after having read the whole book and just read the highlighted portions. Okay, don't get sidetracked by that, but it's just an idea for the future while you're clearing off your desk and or nightstands. But I'm storing that book out of sight now. I have a drawer for books in my room because sometimes when little ones are around, like a bookcase doesn't make a lot of sense because they just pull everything off the bookcase. I realize some of you have book collections and there's so many books you have to have a bookcase. I get it. I do have a bookcase that's kind of a family bookcase, and it's in my son's closet. So some books go out to the bookcase, and then books that are just my personal books that aren't necessarily geared toward kids or whatever, they go in a drawer in my room, and then whatever book I'm currently reading goes on the nightstand. But don't have a huge stack of books on your nightstand unless they're decorative or something like that, but most of us don't have the space for that on the nightstand. Another place to put a book that you want to read is in the bathroom, but, they say it's not healthy to sit on the toilet too long, so, light reading, folks. Like, I have a devotional book that has like 2 pages that you read each day of the year. That's about the right length of something that you should read while you're on the toilet. And of course, you might have cups or dishes on your desk, nightstand, or dressers. Get those to the kitchen and get them soaking, okay? No judgment here if you found a bowl or a cup with dried on food or even mold on it. I hope not, but it can happen sometimes, especially if you're a teenager and you've been procrastinating. Let's get those items rinsed off and then filled up with water, soaking. Fill them up with hot soapy water or even submerge them in hot soapy water in the kitchen. You need to get those items soaking if they have dried on food or juice residue or whatever. Give you another minute to deal with those dishes. If you're a teenager or preteen, your parent might be wondering why they're low on forks, spoons. Get those crusty forks and spoons soaking so that they can get back into circulation. If you're an adult, you still might have your coffee mug on the nightstand. Or worse, get that stuff to the kitchen. By the way, if you've made it this far into the episode and you've been moving the whole time, I'm proud of you. Your room is probably already looking so much better. Remember at the beginning of the episode when I told you might need a trash bag or you would need a trash bag? Now's the time to use it. But you might want to consider keeping a wastebasket in your room. My husband and I each have a wastebasket by the nightstand. I recommend putting it on, if you're going to do the wastebasket thing, I recommend putting it on the other side of the nightstand. Don't put it between your bed and the nightstand, or you might accidentally knock something into the trash that's not trash while you're sleeping or something like that. But if you put it over on the other side of the nightstand, you can still throw something away even while lying in bed. You can reach over and throw something away. However, you should not be throwing away food trash in your bedroom, because that trash isn't going to get taken out as often as your kitchen trash. It's going to attract pests. So usually just paper clutter goes into a bedroom wastebasket. But the trash bag that you brought in to clean your room, you can put any kind of trash in there. Okay? Whether it's fast food trash or something you scraped off a dirty plate. Okay? Or what about just random packing materials from when you unbox something? I don't know what you're dealing with, but during this step, I want you to go through your entire room and throw away anything that's obvious trash. If there's something that you don't want anymore, but you're not sure if it's trash, like you're not sure if maybe it needs to go in a different recycling container, or, if you live in an area where things are divided into different categories, maybe it needs to go in a pile on your bed for a recycling bin that's somewhere else, like out in front of your house. Or maybe you're just not sure whether you want to throw something away or keep it. That can go in kind of a think about it pile. At this stage in the cleaning session, it's okay if there are a few items on top of your bedspread or comforter, like things you need to think about or things that need to go to a recycling bin. Another category that could necessitate a little pile on your bed could be things that belong elsewhere in the house. If you're a parent of little ones, they're notorious for moving things around, so something could end up in your bedroom that doesn't belong there. Or if you're an older kid or teenager, you might be using something that belongs in the garage. Maybe you were using a tool or something. Make a pile of things. Once you've thrown away all your obvious trash, make a pile of things that go elsewhere in the house. Okay, a relocation pile. And don't put your piles too close together. You don't want things mixed up. Okay, you've got your whole bed, so you can have these separate piles that are spaced apart from each other. You might come across something really cool or interesting that you thought you lost or you forgot you had, and you're excited about it and you want to look at it, or it's bringing back memories, or you don't know where to put it. Put it in a pile, maybe a keepsake pile, or I want to look at this after I'm done cleaning my room pile. Okay, if you're a kid and you found a cool toy or a Lego set or a model car, or who knows, you might be tempted to just drop everything and start focusing on that long lost item. Resist the urge and maybe put that in a I'm going to work with this later pile, or maybe set it on your desk. The top of your desk should be a place for things that you're going to deal with or work with in the near future. It's not a place to store things. It could be a place where you do your homework or you do your work. Some of you might have remote jobs and work from home. Maybe you sit at your desk to pay your bills. Okay, I have kind of an in basket on my desk where I put my mail. Then when I go to pay bills, I can sit down at the desk and go through that basket and find those statements. Okay, but if there was something that I wanted to work on as soon as the episode ended, I might just place it in the middle of my desk, because you want your floor to be clear, especially your floor. Now that I've covered pretty much every category, clean clothes, dirty clothes, shoes, books, toys, of course. I didn't really get into this because this episode is geared toward either someone who is a preteen or a teenager or an adult. You probably don't have a lot of toys, but if you're a parent cleaning a little kid's room, you might need to pick up toys. Or, maybe you're an 8 or 9-year-old and you still have a lot of toys. Or maybe you share your room with a sibling and that kid's too young or too ornery to just clean up, you know, go ahead and pick up any toys real quick. Put them in the toy box. I recommend multiple small toy boxes as opposed to one large one. But as kids get older, one toy box might suffice, or it might even be a toy drawer or a toy basket. My son is 13. He's got a container for Legos, but he's not really playing with toys much. And the way he arranged his room, he has a desk that's a gaming station where he plays on his PS4, and then he set up a folding table at the opposite side of his room. It's like a little camping table, but he decided that he wanted to have a separate desk so that he could keep his schoolwork. It's homework, but we call it schoolwork because he goes to a school where he's only there 3 days a week, and then the other 2 days are home days where he does work at home. So he does a lot of homework at home, and he likes to be able to spread it all out on another table and then still move over to like his gaming station. But your gaming station might not be in your room. It might be, in your living room or den or something. But that's just an idea. He basically has a bed, a nightstand. There's a bookcase in the closet if he wants to go pick out a book. And I think on the bookcase is his basket of Legos. And then he's got the separate desk and table. One's for gaming and one's for homework. Hopefully you've dealt with everything. You've made your bed. You've dealt with clothes, shoes, toys, trash, books. Okay? Look around. Is there anything else that maybe wasn't in one of those categories? Put the item away or put it in a relocation pile if it goes outside of your room. Now, if you find something that goes in the kitchen, I want you to get it to the kitchen and get it soaking. But if it just goes in another room or out in the garage, there can be a relocation pile for that. Okay? Once your floor is completely tidy, everything's picked up, okay? Your other surfaces are picked up. Your dresser, your desk for the most part, your nightstands. Once all those surfaces are clear of anything that doesn't belong, it's time to check under your bed. Okay? I'm not saying you're stuffing things under your bed, but sometimes a shoe will accidentally get kicked under the bed, or if you're like us, one of your dogs hoards things under the bed and, takes trash under there. Super irritating. If it's a king or queen sized bed or even a full size bed, you might want to run to the kitchen and grab a broom and use that to pull things out from under the bed. If you can't really crawl under it, but there's stuff you can't reach. Of course, with just a small twin bed for one person, you should be able to easily reach under there and pull anything out. And then you're going to go through the same steps with anything you pulled out from under your bed. You're going to deal with, dirty laundry. You're going to put shoes away. You're going to throw away trash. Okay? We're not going to really deep clean your closet in this episode, but that should definitely be on your to-do list. You don't want a bunch of stuff on your closet floor. The closet floor, might be for shoes, skates, boxes, maybe handbags. I don't know what you like to keep on your closet floor, but you don't want it to just become a catch-all. So if you have extra time, maybe there's nothing under your bed, you could use this time to clear your closet floor. But some of you really need to sort through the stuff that was under your bed. And if you're a preteen, it's possible that you've stuffed things under your bed, maybe because you were having a friend over, or maybe because your parent told you to clean the room and you wanted to hurry up and get it done and do something else. You shouldn't have done it, but no judgment here. We're dealing with it now. Okay? Deal with those items that were under your bed and deal with them quickly. Make fast decisions or else put them in the undecided pile. Okay, at this point, you're either still sorting out things that you found under your bed or maybe clearing your closet floor. But after the episode, I want you to redistribute anything that's in that it goes somewhere else pile on your bed. I want you to decide what to do with that maybe pile. Either throw something away or put it in the drawer, store it out of sight somewhere if you're keeping it. Just be sure to deal with anything that you've placed on your bed. And then before you start working on a project or looking at something that you found in your room, whatever you got excited about, that long lost item, before you start getting sidetracked with that, I want you to vacuum your bedroom. And you might want to dust some surfaces first. Remember I talked about like a dusting spray. Maybe you need to clean a mirror or a window. Okay? Do any dusting or surface cleaning that's needed, and then vacuum your room. Then you can go ahead and wash your bedding if needed. Okay? Just be working on whatever you still need to do while I talk. But there are a couple of reasons why it's important to wash your bedding more often. Please do not go more than 2 weeks without washing your bedding. They say once a week is ideal. I give you permission to do it once every 2 weeks, but here's a case for doing it every week. Having a clean pillowcase can help your complexion. And yeah, there's like all these dead cells coming off of us at night, and it just can be kind of unsanitary not to wash your bedding. It can also stink up your room. Okay, when a bedroom stinks, it's usually because the bedding needs to be washed. Because you're probably not throwing away food trash in your room. So it's not like in the kitchen where somebody forgot to take out the trash. You go somewhere, you come back, and there's kind of a smell in the kitchen. With a bedroom, that funky smell is either dirty socks, shoes that probably need to get tossed, or maybe you need to put some foot powder in them, or you need to wash your bedding. Okay? So I encourage you to wash your bedding after this episode. And maybe you came across a decluttering project while you were getting your room looking nice. You might want to tackle that project next. You know, maybe you want to organize your Legos if you're a kid, or maybe you want to sort through your wardrobe and, make a donation pile of things you're getting rid of. These types of projects are far less overwhelming when you're doing it in a clean room. Like the floor's already picked up, the bed's made, the surfaces are relatively clear. That's the time to sort through your wardrobe, putting pictures into photo albums. Or, if you're a kid, putting together a Lego project or a model car, or playing a video game that you found that was buried somewhere. I know a lot of our video games now are just purchased virtually. They're not physical games, but not sure what you have at your house. I hope you got a lot done during this episode. If you want a longer episode where you clean your entire house, be sure to subscribe to bonus content. Many of the bonus episodes are an hour long. You can subscribe to those Clean With Me Unplugged episodes by supporting the show on Apple Podcasts, which is the purple app on iPhones. You can do it through a Patreon account, and that's probably already being advertised to you if you're on Spotify, but you can also just go to cleanwithmepodcast.com. I'll put a link in the episode notes, and there will be instructions on the different ways to support the show. There's a link at the bottom to join the Spreaker Supporters Club, and that's yet another way. You only need to do one of these things to unlock those additional episodes. Support on Apple, Patreon, or Spreaker. Okay. But even just listening to these free episodes helps me. So please keep listening. Be sure to click follow or the plus sign or subscribe, whatever applies on the podcast app you're listening on, so you don't miss any future episodes. As always, happy cleaning, and I'll talk to you in the next episode.